reasons for not writing off emotional debt are often very irrational and are worthy of having a specific look at and considering as we go forward. The first reason we often hear is that people say it was okay what the other person did to me if I write off the debt. So they stay in jail. They keep punishing themselves to some extent because they want to prove that what was done to them was not okay. The whole process is illogical, irrational. People keep on hurting themselves for years, sometimes for their whole life, and yet they can walk out of the jail. The doors are open and they could be free, and yet they stay. The second reason we often hear is that people say, if I write off the debt, I have to be best friends with that other individual that hurt me. And that looks as follows. They think to themselves, if I go out of jail, I have to love this person. That is unthinkable, so I'm going to stay in jail. When you are free, you can decide who you have a relationship with. You can decide who you engage with. You are free to do that. But when you are in jail, that freedom is very often not there. I find that a lot of people that haven't written off their debt often get themselves caught up in the situation where the other person is controlling them, or they feel like they're caught with this other person. The next thing that we often hear is that people say, I must allow that person to hurt me again and again and again. That looks as follows. They don't want to go out of jail because they don't want to get hurt again. The reality is they are in jail with that individual, and the wall that they are building is only making their own jail cell smaller. This is why these individuals very often break their own boundaries. When you are free, you can actually set healthy boundaries. It is amazing when I ask people why do they set boundaries. Most people give some form of an example of I'm doing something to someone else. I'm protecting myself from somebody else. And this is why people aren't very good with boundaries. Healthy boundaries are set for freedom, for peace. Because you see, if I know what your boundary is, I know up to where I'm free to move. I know up to where I can have peace. Boundaries are set for peace. And if we have that mindset, we are more effective with setting boundaries. And there are some people that say, if I write off my debt, it means that I am weak. Now, these people, I find, most of the time, use the pain they've had as an excuse to stay a victim, as an excuse to behave in inappropriate ways, as an excuse to hurt others, as an excuse to do whatever they please. It is a reason for their bad behavior. And that is why they find an excuse not to go that route. You are not weak when you write off debt. You are enabled to be strong when you do this. Then some people say, I cannot take legal action anymore. I find a lot of the people that have a challenge with that are in our society or Christians. But I find that challenge with people from all different religions and even non-religious people. They say, I cannot take legal action anymore when I've written off the debt. I think the contrary is true. I think it is true that we can actually take legal action far more effective when we are not in jail. Think about it. about it. When you are in jail, you can take legal action, but it's very complicated. It's difficult. When you're outside of jail, taking legal action is far more easy. Let's look at a real practical example. Imagine I was raped. I'm in a court and I see the rapist on the other side. If I've written off the emotional debt, that means my emotions are not connected anymore to that experience. That means I can be far more calm, I can be far more objective, and I can be far more effective in a court case. So writing off your debt actually empowers you to take better legal action. Then the last group of people say that I must forget, otherwise I cannot write off the debt. I hate to break it to you, but you cannot forget. You're not made to forget. The more you try to forget, the more you'll remember. That is just how our brains work. If we try to forget something, we spend energy on that thing, and we tend to think of it far more than we would have if we had just written it off. I hope that you will take the step out of your jail into freedom and taste the amazing experience of being truly emotionally debt-free. Let's have a look at the next video.